Yes, we're going to be going over Eagles minicamp, the first and the final day. Since it's only one day of minicamp, we're going to go over everything. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Horrors on a fantastic day today. So this is the first and final day of minicamp. Only one day of minicamp in June, and then we wait 5 weeks, and then officially we'll have trading camp soon. But kind of want to start off with a few things here. Now, number one thing for injuries. Okay, now everybody showed up to minicamp, which was great. The attendance was 100% full effect, so no issues on anybody not showing up. But Miles Hinton, the sixth round tackle that the Eagles drafted this past year, that could potentially be Lane Johnson's replacement for the future. He did hit the blue tent today. No idea what happened or if it was serious or not. And if it was serious, I think we would have heard something by now. But he is fine. Another 5 weeks, and he'll probably be back and he'll be fine. So I'm not really worried about that much. Now, the starting defense as of right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, so you had Sidney Brown at safety. Sidney Brown got the shot at safety. DeJean in the nickel. You had Keely Ringo at the number 2, Quignon at the number 1. So nothing really changed there except for linebackers. Looks like Zach Bond was dealing with some soreness, so he did some positional drills, some linebacker positional drills. Didn't do any teamwork or anything like that on defense. So he sat out where you had Small Mondon and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. were starting at the linebackers. This is the first time we've seen Jihad Campbell with a helmet on because he didn't have one during OTAs, and now he has one, and he was practicing, okay? Now, he was doing linebacker drills, positional activities, but was not doing any team activities at all. But he's flying around. He's looking pretty good. We know his return is very up in the air right now. Nick Sirianni did mention that there's no timetable. They're giving him as much, time as possible. But Vic Fangio did say he won't be back until mid-August, so we'll kind of keep track of what's going on with him. But, it's not like he's sitting out doing nothing, but he's going to have to take some mental reps. And then when he finally gets in there, middle of August, whenever in August in full pads, we'll be ready for him. We talked about how important the linebacker core is because if Jihad Campbell is out, you have no Nakobe Dean for almost the rest of this year, so you kind of have to pardon him just for being in the lineup. You're going to get a lot more reps from Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Small Mondon and Ben Van Simmeren, and you're going to see what depth you kind of have there. So getting the other guys more reps, potentially when Jihad Campbell comes back, and maybe if you deal with injuries later on, you're going to need some of these guys down the line. And Fangio is going to be seeing a ton of these guys early in camp. And when we get to the regular season, you never know when you're going to need guys like this that are going to step into the defense. So they're going to get a lot of reps there. So that's a good thing. Now, Keely Ringo, we've been waiting for this moment. So I thought Keely Ringo had a really solid day. Okay, Keely Ringo went up against Danny Gray, had a pass breakup, had another one against Terrace Marshall, and then went one-on-one against A.J. Brown and just put the coverage on him very nicely. Couldn't get the ball to him, and that was a pretty good few reps that he had today. A good solid day for Keely Ringo. We know this is really the biggest offseason for him, but realistically, when it comes to this defense, the number one position I'm looking at is cornerback too, because you have Keely Ringo, you have Adoree Jackson, and I know we heard the rumors of maybe the Eagles making a trade for a corner or maybe signing a free agent that's out there right now, but Fangio says that we have to give him reps, give this thing time, and I believe in that. I want to believe that Keely Ringo will win this job by the end of preseason, by the middle of preseason. He'll already have that job locked up, and we'll feel a little bit better about the situation. But I think without full pads on, and you could take a lot from receivers and corners going against each other, I thought it was a pretty solid day for him. Now, going towards the offensive line, it looks like Trevor Keegan has got some snaps at center. Remember, Trevor Keegan missed a lot of time last offseason program. He ended up getting hurt, and then he missed some time, came back, and kind of had to climb back up again and really waiting for another offseason program to get his shot. It looks like it won't be right guard, but he could play center and right guard. He did it in college, didn't give up a sack, I think, for the state championship at Michigan. Did a really good job there, was a captain there, and I want to see him really have a good offseason program and do some good things. I know they tried putting Brett Toth at center. He had some snaps at shotgun. He looked horrible. He had some really bad snaps. So that might open the door up for Drew Kendall, the draft pick from the Eagles this year. That's been mostly a center, has played very little guard, but mostly has been a center most of his college career and more snaps at that position. So, but that right guard spot is going to be an interesting one. And Nick Sirianni really at his press conference had no answers to that right guard position, whether it's going to be Keegan or Tyler Steen or former first-round pick Kenyon Green you got in the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade. It's going to be an interesting one since Mekhi Becton has left and signed a bigger deal with the Chargers. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, coming down to Nick Sirianni's press conference before practice, kind of want to go over a few things from there. He talked about Saquon Barkley's snaps, and obviously he has a lot of faith in the health department for the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously the players give him feedback on how they're feeling. And after an over 2,000-yard ceiling, you would think Saquon is kind of run down a little bit. But he heard the rumors of Saquon retiring out of nowhere if it happens, and he says he's going to be here for a long time. And Saquon had a press conference as well and said he thinks he's just getting into his prime right now, and Nick really has no worries about the situation when it comes to his snaps in the regular season. Nick Sirianni talked about the tush push, and since they could do that play, now they're going to work hard at it, and there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to try to figure out the Eagles and how are they going to stop them from doing it, and I don't think anyone's going to stop it, but Nick says they're going to figure out ways to be better at it and do some different things with it this year. We've seen some like end around plays from that and some other different plays if you want to do something differently, but it's not as easy to do that play because you have to be coached really well and you have to make sure that everybody is on point, moving at the same time, getting that push that you guys need to get that play. So the Eagles will be working very hard at it. There's no doubt about it. Now, I know that Nolan Smith is dealing with the triceps injury, okay, the torn tricep that he got in the Super Bowl. So I don't know how much time he's missing. Probably not much. He's probably just going to make the mark once training camp is here. I think that's what, a 4 to 6 month healing process, most likely. So I'm not really about Nolan Smith missing so much time. Even if he misses a few days, I think he'll be back in time in 5 weeks. We'll see what happens with him. Yeah, Nick talked about Kevin Patullo as well, obviously, because he's been here for 5 years and knows the players, and, you know, he's very detailed on what he does. The players come to him for feedback and everything like that, and he has a lot of faith in Kevin Patullo. I understand he's not going to say the truth or throw him under the bus, but I feel like this decision they wanted to make in this offseason, you know, to make him the OC and hopefully have him for 2+ years if you can, that would be nice. But it seems like all the players have a lot of attention towards Kevin Patullo's plan for this offense. And I think dramatically it's going to change a little bit. I think they'll still be a run first team, which they should be, but potentially I think fullback is going to be fully involved since they're really trying to revive that position. They went with it for a little bit last year. They strayed away from it. I think you can create another weapon at fullback. And if you find the right guy at that position, that's another weapon you could have on the field. And I think they're really going to extend that usage of that position tremendously this year for the 2025 season. As for Jalen Hurts, he had a pretty good day. I know he had a big deep pass to Devontae Smith into the end zone. So Jalen Hurts has just been great. So had a great mini camp day. So there's really not much to say about him because we really don't have to complain about him at all. We're really worried about the competition. Once we get those full pads on, once training camp starts and things start revving up a little bit, I think we're going to get more attention into that, and we're going to be very happy in the results that we're going to get. Let me know what you guys think. What is the number one competition that you're going to be looking at? Who is the number one player you really want to strive and have the best offseason possible? Name your top 5 players that really need a big offseason program and really need to step up for this team this year. Not only for this year, for the future of this team as well. But other than that, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. We'll have training camp in a few weeks, 5 weeks to be exact, I think. And we'll be covering every single day. You guys enjoy. Make sure you hit the like button because it helps the channel tremendously. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.